What's up, y'all? Shook here, back with another video on the Holy Paladin, doing some 3v3 with Plum on his Beast Mastery Hunter and Sorgal on his Enhancement Shaman. This is the second queue session of us running the Beastcleave. It went pretty good. We had a decent win-loss ratio. I had a couple games where, I don't know, I just wasn't really playing all that well, but it's nice to be rolling like a real comp where you can actually make a couple mistakes and still win the game. This was against an Affliction Warlock and Arms Warrior. It's a pretty popular comp right now. Usually the healer is replaced with like a different healer, like a Holy Paladin or Disc Priest. Even seen it with the Preservation Evoker quite a few times. And we're still kind of learning the comp. We had a good win-loss ratio, but for the most part we were losing to Ret Warrior, which I think we should be able to beat. We were beating every single Mage comp, which I think is, we should be able to beat that as well. You can kind of see we're getting a lot of pressure here, but the Warlock is popping all his cooldowns, so it is going to get my lay on hands. The Druid's trying to avoid CC, so he goes ahead and pops Tranquility. They actually chunk Sorgal back down. I am going to pop Divine Toll just to get that proc on my Holy Shocks, and I'm going to go ahead and use an infusion there on a Greater Judgment. We're currently winning on mana, so I'm going to run over here, start casting Tyr's Deliverance since the Warlock's kick is back up. We're kind of just pumping all of our damage into this Warlock. It's much easier to hit Affliction Warlocks than it is to hit the Demo Warlocks. The Demo has a lot more micro CC from their pets. I do go ahead and using a Blessing of Protection here since the Warrior had Avatar rolling. We get the trap on the Druid, and I do get locked there. That was kind of an easy juke. I definitely should have been juking there. I knew that the Warlock had his kick available, and you can see how far behind I actually get. It's going to cost me my bubble because I did get interrupted there. So that's just one of those mistakes that can be easily avoided. Should have been juking. I go ahead and hodge the Warrior here. I thought the Druid was on the other side. What we really want to do is when Plum gets the trap, I go for the hodge, so we have like the full cross CC. You can kind of see Sorgal kiting back here a little bit. I'm not sure why he's kiting and LOSing versus the Affliction Warlock. We lose a little bit of pressure. This comp is really all about just kind of pedal to the metal. Like we want to do as much damage as possible, and you don't ever want to lose pressure. You can see the Warrior coming over here to try and get a little bit of CC on me. I do go ahead and hodge him while the Druid was CC'd. There is the Fear, and Sorgal trimmers me immediately. So really good trimmer by him. We're actually winning on mana pretty heavily now. I'm going to use my second Blessing of Protection. So it's going to negate most of the Warrior's damage, or actually all the Warrior's damage, and we do get the kill on the Warrior. Normally we're going to go for the Warlock, but we were able to just kind of set up the swap there and take out the Warrior. So not a bad game. It looks like this is around 2056 MMR, so it was earlier in the session. We did get up to like 2150 MMR, so we haven't quite broken into that like 2200 range with the new comp, but I'm hoping with a little bit more inflation, as the season goes on. This is a really, really deflated season, as I'm sure, most of you are aware if you're queuing right now. Really, BG Blitz, if you want to get rating, BG Blitz is the best way to get high rating. And planning on posting some more BG Blitz content here soon. I just haven't had a time to queue. I think I'm gonna duo queue with Plum in some BG Blitz hopefully this week. With Thanksgiving coming up and kind of the holidays and stuff, it gets a little bit more chaotic to post multiple times in a week, but we should have a time here coming soon. This next team is an Ellie Shaman and a Demo Warlock. So the Demo Warlocks we were having a lot more trouble with compared to Affliction. Again, just the micro CC of the Demo Warlocks is really, really tough. Also, they have a lot of ways to root Plum's pets. This map is also terrible for BM Hunter because if they want to, they can just like jump off and it messes with its pets. You can see like crazy damage going out there. They do get my lay on hands, and it looks like we're kind of swapping around, hitting the monk a little bit. and Plum is kind of playing back the pillar with me. Sorgal can't really play the pillar because he's melee, so he has to be out there in the open, but that's okay. I am casting Tears Deliverance back here just to get it up, and there is the root on Plum and all his pets. We do get a trap on the Warlock there, and Plum is running Diamond Ice, so that way none of his traps will get broken by damage. I go ahead and juke there, and I juke the Shaman's Kick, get a little precog. I need to be tossing out freedoms on Sorgal whenever I can because he's going to be getting rooted a lot, and pushing in for the Hodge here. Not necessarily a great Hodge because I do end up getting Hex, but Sorgal does dispel me. It looks like the monk wants to come in and try for the CC now. So really here is where we want to kind of turn and burn the monk. I juke the shaman again, get another precog. So juking much better in this match compared to the last one. However, we are behind on mana, so I have to keep that in mind. At some point, you know, if we get way far ahead, I may need to go for a drink. I've also already used Lay on Hands. Sorgal does go ahead and burrow there, trying to kind of pick him up in the burrow. I get hexed, but I'm not super worried about it. Sorgal can dispel me, or, you know, it was also DR'd. Looks like the Shaman's trying to throw out some Lava Burst. We are getting a bunch of damage on this Demo Warlock. I'm going to run in, go for the Hodge. I need to get around the corner and try and go for the Repent here. Going for the Repent, and I actually missed it, unfortunately. So I'm casting Tears Deliverance, trying to pick Sorgal back up. It looks like I have wings rolling as well, so this is definitely going to pick him up. But again, we are behind on mana. I'm probably going to use Blessing of Summer offensively. Yeah, I do go ahead and use it offensively here. So whatever I'm healing, I'm going to be, you know, doing damage to things as I'm healing it. I do get locked there, so I'm going to go ahead and Trinket just because Sorgal's low. I didn't want to risk him, you know, the global on dispelling, especially with the Warlock being that low. You know, if he can use a global to actually just kill the Warlock, then it's whatever. My Trinket at that point in the match isn't nearly as valuable as him just like keeping pressure. So kind of a tough one. I think we split with those guys. I don't think we beat them every time we played them. This next one is against a Mage and an Arms Warrior, and I'm pretty sure we beat every single Frost Mage team that we fought, just because Beastcleave is really good against Mage. We might have lost to one, but he was like a 10-time rank 1 player, and he just played out of his mind. So just, I mean, honestly, the one guy that beat us was like just a better player. But right here, you can see we do get a lot of cooldowns from the Druid, from the Warrior. We get Iron Bark, we get Tree Form. Sorgal is kind of stunning the Warrior here. We're kind of just waiting for everything. He does get the poly on me. So this map is a little bit awkward for positioning because I don't really want to play in on top of the Warrior to take that pillar. You can see the Druid trying to juke here. He uses his Night Elf Racial to get a Rake Stun on me. I'm going to Hodge him. He's going to Trinket that. It looks like Sorgal knocked him. I'm trying to range this clone, and I do end up ranging it. And right here, I'm just kind of throwing out judgments. We get a trap, looks like on the Warrior. I'm trying to make sure Sorgal is not rooted because Frost Mage he's just gonna consistently be rooted. There's the Ice Block. Warrior is Blade Storming. We actually turn and burn the Warrior really hard. It's really tough for the Resto Druid to kind of keep up in this scenario when we can swap and just burst down targets, and he doesn't have overgrowth and stuff like that to just toss out a bunch of different hots. If he's also, I'm running that Rake build, I don't think he can, well actually I think it's a PvP talent that gives you the increased range on clone. Looks like they are trying to go for Plum here for a second, and now they're swapping back to Sorgal, so I do get cloned here. Probably worth bubbling, even with us using grounding. That's their second block, so now we just have to live, I don't know, just a little bit longer. I do have Hand of Sacrifice coming back up. You can see me kind of like juking. I didn't want the Mage to like cancel his block to try and lock me there. It looks like the Warrior is trying to cast Sharpen, the Mage is trying to cast his Stun, so they want to go on Plum here, but he still has Turtle and a lot of his defensives, so we're not super worried about that. They did clone Sorgal there, and they are going for Plum now, but again, he does have Turtle, and he is going to use Turtle here. I go ahead and use my Lay on Hands, and they are swapping back to Sorgal. Now we have wings available. I need to go ahead and dispel Sorgal when I can, but it looks like he's just going to eat that full poly, so that's a little bit unfortunate. We don't want to lose a lot of pressure, so that was just bad on my part for not seeing the dispel there. I don't have Hodge available. I need to be getting back up my Tears Deliverance. It looks like we double kicked there. The Druid trying to juke, so that was a good juke by the Druid, getting precog. But right here we got basically lined up and we just one-shot that Mage there at the end. So he didn't have any kind of ice block, and that's just, I don't know, that's just kind of what our comp does to mage teams. Here's another Mage team. This is a much worse version with the Demon Hunter. I just don't think Demon Hunters are very good right now. They were very, very strong for a lot of Dragonflight, but in the War Within, they've just been really, really weak. So this is just a worse version of the last team. You can see we almost one-shot the Demon Hunter. We swapped with the Mage. We did a bunch of damage to him. Once Blur is down, if we can catch the Demon Hunter in a stun, we can pretty much just one-shot him. Like, he's just going to be super, super squishy. Some of them are running Netherwalk, but I actually think that is the worst spec of the two. There's the Blessing of Protection. The Pally's actually playing really offensive, which maybe that's how they're winning. I was just impressed that they were playing this comp at a high MMR. I don't know. I feel like healing this comp would be awful, and maybe it's just like they're playing alts and these guys are, you know, higher rated on other characters. I don't know, but I don't see how they were winning games with this comp unless they just play hyper aggressive and get a really good CC chain. We do get a Diamond Ice on the Pally here. I am going to try and Hodge him off. I do go ahead and Hodge him. It's a little bit DR'd. He gets the full Hodge on me, so I'm going to burn my trinket here. I don't have Tears Deliverance rolling, but it looks like the Pally doesn't either, so he's going to try and burn his bubble. We get Netherwalk, so this Demon Hunter is running the worst of the two specs. So we get bubble, Netherwalk, and block there. So pretty much any target is a kill target at this point. Heck, we could even swap to the Pally if we wanted to. Notice that he doesn't have Beacon on himself, so if we swap to him in a stun, you can see Plum interrupt that Repentance there. I'm going to go in, get the full Hodge this time. It is not DR'd, he has no bubble, and we do take down the Demon Hunter. So again, kudos to these guys for running this comp. This is just one of those things. It's like when we were running DK Enhancement Shaman, it's just not a good comp, so they're at a significant disadvantage. And this last match is against a BM Hunter and an Arms Warrior. So I think this was, if I'm not mistaken, this was the team that was like climbing with us, like both of our MMRs. We fought them a couple times, and both our MMRs were like going up as we played kind of throughout the session. I think we beat them, I don't know how many times we played them, honestly. I know that we beat them more than they beat us. We had like a 70% win ratio for the entire queue session, and I'm still kind of getting used to how to play like the BM matchup, like when I want to use my trinket, and I don't think at this point we were in Discord, so I needed to be able to call for Grounding Totem, which is really, really huge. Like just making it hard for the hunter to trap, you know, having that Grounding Totem makes the difference in this matchup. Because realistically they want to just kind of go for Sorgal the entire time. They really don't want their warrior trying to chase after Plum, because he can kite the warrior a lot easier, and Sorgal can't really do that. So we do trade bubbles here. He uses his Blessing and Protection. We still have Lay on Hands and Blessing and Protection, and I'm going to go ahead and use my second Blessing and Protection, so you can see us kind of like trading cooldowns pretty efficiently. Like we're almost even here. I'm going to go run over here and try and cast Tears Deliverance. He's casting Tears Deliverance, and you can see Plum stopping him. So that's a really, really important kind of turning point in the match, where I'm basically getting value out of my Tears Deliverance here, and he's building up that kind of barrier, or the Absorb Shield, I mean, on himself. Plum does go for the trap there. He does get the trap on him, and it looks like they use Roar of Sacrifice, and there is the Pally's Lay on Hands. We still have our Lay on Hands available, so we are technically ahead on cooldowns at this point, where almost even on mana. Plum does stop that Hand of Divinity. I'm going to Hodge off that Interrupt, and we're in like complete control here. I'm going to go ahead and Trinket this trap since it was a full trap. Plum is going to stun that Hand of Divinity. I get interrupted, but we do take down the Warrior. So that was a pretty, well played match by Plum and Sorgal overall. Hope you guys enjoyed these games. Let me know what you think in the comment section. If you are new here, be sure to subscribe, drop a like, helps me out a ton, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.